Ka-chow! What's poppin' pumpkin heads? Your boy Sweet Lou back again with the end of the first day. We have planted. Let me show you. So we've got the structure, version 1, looking okay. It's high winds, which is a good test for this. They should sort of each sit in a nice half circle and mutual support. I've got the very top here um, talking to each other with elastic. These three joints should all sort of kind of be talking to each other. We planted two um, pumpkin seeds that had been soaking in fulvic acid for about 3 hours, and we planted them right next to each other, each of them dusted with azos and mycos. And now I'm concerned, since we're my first time direct sowing and there's birds all over, and they could probably stand to warm up the soil a little bit, so I've got it all covered in plastic for this evening with a little peaked top so it doesn't disturb the soil. I don't know if it'll work, or if the wind, or if it rains and it'll smush it. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, if it's gonna burn it or not. My soil temperature checker is busted, so I don't know how hot it is, but I gave it a pretty good soak. The watering spout I've been using was a little too hard, and it was disturbing the fresh soft soil a little too much, so I might go out and buy one of those watering wands until I get the automatic system up. I'm just watering it in the meantime. Okay, but let's talk about all the soils and conditioners that we used. And I'll just do that by going over empty bags. Okay, so here we go. So, wiggle worm raised bed mix. I got this along with the pure castings, and it's for raised beds. I think it's just sort of like medium dirt. Pure compost, tons of organic stuff, because I hear that pumpkins need a lot of organic matter. Chicken manure, because I heard that it's good to mix in. Then here's the pure worm castings and worm egg material, which I've never used before, but apparently there's live worms that can go in there. I saw some worm-like things in there earlier. I'm not sure if they were actually worms. They probably weren't. A different brand of chicken manure. This one seemed much drier. Maybe older, maybe the bag was open. Another bag of this. Oh, and then this is sphagnum peat moss, which I think plumps up a little bit when it gets wet. So maybe that mound, it will naturally want to, it'll want to like sink in. But with the sphagnum peat moss, as it expands a little bit, it might, there might be some dynamic tension there. It might stay around the same size. Yeah, more of this raised bed mix, another thing of compost, and then a whole thing of potting mix just to keep it really loose, and then not quite a whole thing of the Wilco potting mix, which the same idea, try to keep it loose, a little bit more of the soil, a little bit more of the chicken manure. I tried to, pretty much mix in a little bit of everything I had, kind of equal proportions, except for the peat moss. I only used one of those. All right, and then some additives I used. I already talked about mycos. Added one of these. It basically looks like diaper material, like what you find in wet diapers that have exploded. Polyacrylamide. I think it's in a Bob's Burgers episode. Whatever, it looks like a gel. So maybe it'll keep it from watering too fast, watering too slow. I don't know if it'll run out of water, just to like sort of moderate the water amount in there. I dusted that in a couple layers, and I added this, which is like a slow release 14-14-14 I guess fertilizer you'd call it. It's plant food. So I mixed into the top 2 or 3 inches of soil. So that will feed the plant slowly. The whole idea is to get as solid of a start as you can, and then don't touch it again. So if this is going to be growing for a few months, I want a really big plant. Hopefully it'll get a lot of all the nitrogen it needs, all the nutrients it needs, and I want a really big plant before I try to pollinate. So I want it to be a fairly big plant. If it could be 100 square foot plant, like 10 by 10, that would be awesome. Before I try to start pollinating, and I want to try to pollinate on the main vine, so that's got to still be growing before I pollinate. Yeah, I think I'll hand pollinate. But yeah, that's it. Next is to perfect the structure so I can take it out of the plastic wrap at night, or at all, once it starts to actually germinate. It says about a week, but the fact that I soaked it in fulvic acid might make it a little bit faster. We'll see. All right. See you next time.